The quilt is heavy. That's the first thing I notice. The weight of it pressing down on my chest. Thick batting my grandmother stitched by hand, smelling of cedar and something older I can't name. The lamp on the dresser throws a circle of yellow light across the floorboards. Outside, I can hear the horses shifting in the barn, a sound like the world breathing. The room is cold the way October is cold in Lancaster County. Not cruel, just final. He is sitting on the edge of the bed with his back to me, and his shoulders are doing something I have never seen a grown man's shoulders do before. I don't have a word for it yet. I won't have one for years. I am 19 years old and I have been married for 4 hours, and neither of us, not me, not him, not a single person who stood in that church this morning, has given us any real information about what is supposed to happen next. The quilt is heavy. My hands won't stop shaking, and somewhere in the back of my mind, a question I cannot ask out loud. Is this all there is? I was 19. Quick pause. My name is Sarah, and this is Plain Spoken. If these stories mean something to you, subscribing is free and it keeps them coming. And I'd love to know. Leave me a comment. Did anyone ever actually talk to you about intimacy before marriage? In the Amish church, there is no class, no conversation, no pamphlet left on a kitchen table with a quiet suggestion to read it before the wedding. The silence around bodies and marriage isn't an accident. It comes from something old, rooted in the idea that purity means unknowing, that innocence is the same thing as ignorance, and that God would simply provide what two people needed on the night they needed it. Nobody told me this directly. I absorbed it the way you absorb everything in a closed community. Through what is never said, through the way women's eyes slide away from certain questions, through the fact that I didn't even know what questions to ask. The paradigm bomb nobody ever dropped on me. In many traditional Amish settlements, there is no formal premarital instruction of any kind. Not one word. The assumption is that silence itself is holy, that not knowing is the same as being good. His name was Eli. He was 22, and he had kind eyes, and he had been baptized into the church at 16, and he was, in every way that community measured such things, a good man. We had courted for 14 months. We had sat together in his family's front room on Sunday evenings with a lamp burning between us, talking about land and weather and the small ordinary things a life is built from. 3 weeks before the wedding, my sister Ruth pulled me into the kitchen after the dishes were done. She held both my hands. She said 13 words. 13. And then she walked back into the other room, and that was the end of my preparation. Eli, I would learn later, had received nothing. Not even 13 words. We were two people standing at the edge of something vast, and everyone who loved us had simply looked away. The room I'm describing to you is small, barely 12 feet across, with one window facing east and a braided rug my mother made the winter before. The lamp has a white glass shade, and it makes everything look softer than it is. I can still hear the horses. I can hear a barn owl somewhere out past the cornfield. The quilt is folded back now, and I am sitting on my side of the bed in my nightgown, which is white cotton and goes to my wrists, and I am looking at a water stain on the ceiling because I cannot look anywhere else. When Eli finally turns around, his face does something that breaks my heart a little, even now. He looks like a boy who has been handed a task in a language he doesn't speak. He looks like a lost boy. Not cruel, just lost. What happens next, I will tell you plainly, because plainness is the only mercy I can offer that younger version of myself. It is awkward and it is fast, and there is pain I don't expect, and I make no sound because making sound feels like breaking a rule I was never taught but somehow know. There is a moment, one specific moment, when I think, this is what the church was protecting us from? Not the act itself, the silence around it. His hands are shaking too. At one point, he whispers, "I don't know if I'm," and stops. I say, "It's okay." I don't know if it's okay. I have no framework for okay. Afterward, we lie very still in the dark, and the horses have gone quiet, and the room feels like something has been taken from it. Neither of us is the villain here. We are both just the product of the same enormous silence. The specific harm is this: I did not know my own body, not in any real way. I did not know what it was capable of, what it needed, what it was allowed to want. Eli didn't know either. Not about himself, not about me. What was missing was so basic it almost sounds impossible to say out loud. Nobody had told either of us that both people in a marriage were supposed to matter in that room. Not as a theological position, just as a fact. The religious logic that made this possible was tidy and circular. Bodies were for God's purposes. God's purposes were children, and anything beyond that was, at best, beside the point. That's not cruelty. It's a system. But here is the fact I will just set in front of you and let you feel however you feel about it. I spent the first 2 years of my marriage not knowing that what I experienced could have been different. That's not a spiritual failing. That's just a gap. A gap that costs something. I learned to be somewhere else. That is the most accurate way I know to say it. I learned to send the part of me that felt things to a quiet place in the back of my mind, like closing a door on a room you don't know what to do with. I would focus on the ceiling, or on a sound outside, or on what I needed to do the next morning. By the time we had been married a year, I had stopped expecting anything to be different. I had never even fully formed the thought that something could be different. You can't miss a door you don't know exists. That's not weakness. That was just my life. And I lived it the way you live any life, one ordinary day at a time. There was a woman in my church district named Miriam. She was 10 years older than me, and she had 7 children, and she laughed the loudest at every quilting bee. The kind of laugh that takes up space without apology. One afternoon, we were washing jars together in her kitchen. Late September, the light going golden through the window. And she said something so quietly, I almost didn't catch it. "I just do my duty," she said. Not to me directly, more to the jar in her hands. I didn't ask her what she meant. She didn't look up. I almost said, "Me too." I didn't. We finished the jars and went back to the quilting, and nobody said anything about it again. I think about Miriam a lot. I wonder if she ever found her door. By our 3rd year, I had started to understand that what I thought was a private, specific sadness was not private and not specific at all. The word I found, the one that finally named it, I found in a book in a library 2 years after I left. It was not a dramatic moment. I was sitting in a plastic chair under fluorescent lights, and I read one sentence, and I had to put the book down and look at the ceiling for a long time. The sentence was about the difference between duty and desire, and why both matter, and why one cannot replace the other without cost. I wasn't angry when I read it. I want to be clear about that. I was not angry. I was sad. Devastatingly, quietly, specifically sad. For Eli, who was never given the tools to ask the right questions, and for the girl who lay still in that cedar-smelling room, listening to horses breathe, who thought that what she was feeling was just what married life felt like. She had been so obedient. She had followed every rule she was ever given. And the system that made all those rules had simply never written one for her. I carry things from that life that I would not trade. I carry the sound of a hymn sung without instruments in a plain white room, 40 voices finding the harmony by feel alone. I carry the smell of bread from a wood-burning oven on a January morning when the fields are white and the kitchen is the only warm place in the world. I carry a way of moving through a day that is quieter than most people I know, an ability to be still, to wait, to find the sacred in ordinary work. Those things are real and they are mine. And also true. I was kept from myself. My own body was handed to me on a wedding night with no instruction, no preparation, and no permission to want. Beauty and harm can live in the same house. I have learned to let them. If you grew up somewhere your own body was kept from you like something dangerous, like something that needed to be locked away until someone else had a use for it, I see you. I see you in the girl who didn't know what questions to ask. I see you in the woman washing jars in a golden kitchen, saying, "I just do my duty," to no one in particular. You survived something real. And surviving, I want to tell you, is enough. You are not broken. You were never broken. You were just never given what you deserved. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you felt listening to this. Even one word is enough. If there was a moment that found you, I want to know which one. There is so much more I haven't said yet. We are just getting started, and I am not going anywhere. Subscribe to Plain Spoken and stay with me. I'll be here. Your story was never the problem. You were always enough.